Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. We are here on a Tuesday night to talk another movie. That's right. Earl has got his Flash shirt on, and therefore we, of course, are going to be talking about the Flash. Aussie Nate, what's going on, buddy? Sorry, I did not send the invite to you this evening. There may be a special guest coming on later. Not that you're not a special guest, also, but there may be a special guest coming on later. And so seven's a crowd. So I didn't want to have 7 people on this thing. We'd be here for days. So just in case, this special
this guest
decides,
in particular likes to talk.
This particular guest does like to talk. I have not
imagine Garrison explaining Spider-Man, but angrier.
Oh, you haven't heard him talk about Flash yet. And I'm ready to hear some good lore.
I will say that the long national nightmare, even though it's been fun talking about movies and stuff on Extra, the long national nightmare is over. We have Secret Invasion starting tomorrow morning at 2 a.m. We'll be talking Secret Invasion next week.
Is that going to end the nightmare?
I'm just putting it that way. I mean,
okay.
It's been fun talking about movies, but like at its heart, Extra has always been television oriented. And so I'm happy that we're going to be able to get back to that format of talking about Secret Invasion. We've got a good crowd in the chat. We got Matt, we got Brian, Nate, we've got Melissa in and out. She said she's recording her show, so she'll be in and out. So, of course, we are here to talk about Andy Muschietti's The Flash. Andy Muschietti, who has gained lots of notoriety, directed It and It Chapter 2. Got the gig for Batman Brave and the Bold off of his success question mark of the Flash. I mean, financially not maybe successful, but
I'd say he's at risk of being Trevor Road before
he made a movie.
Nah, I don't think he'll be Trevor Road. I think he's a popular director at this point. I think that he's a safe bet for Batman the Brave and the Bold.
He was able to produce a movie that made it to theaters.
Yes,
that's right.
The studio really likes that he made that film and it came out with all of the stuff that happened behind the scenes.
Challenges of it. So let's go around the horn here like we normally do and talk about the Flash a little bit. Initial thoughts, and then we'll dive into full spoilers. These are always spoiler shows. So Garrison, what was your feeling as you were leaving the theater after you saw the Flash? And how many times have you seen it?
I've seen it twice.
I knew you were going to say that.
I tried to sneak in a third showing.
I
had
I'm
an
sure
$8
you
off
did.
coupon from Voodoo after I bought something.
Oh.
I was like, I kind of want to go a third time, pay for my whole ticket practically.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you could say I could be a Flash fan.
Yes.
Those are just a few things from my collection.
Yeah.
We could go the death of Iris West or the
that'd be
trial of the
bad.
Flash.
Oh my gosh.
Great
Holy
story
Flashpoint.
arcs. Or we could go at the beginning of Wally West as the Flash with Savage Velocity.
Your favorite character?
We could do Mark Wade writing Wally West, which is very popular. You see Barry Allen on the cover. Ooh, look at that.
Oh,
Ooh.
Barry Allen.
Not a twist there.
What? I didn't. Real quick, Garrison, I should have thought to have it ready. I can't. There's no way I can get to it, but I have a few dozen of my dad's old Flash comics.
Oh,
Really?
nice.
Yeah, like the old, Wally West kind of stuff.
Nice.
Golden Age.
And then, then Silver Age, mostly silver probably. But it's I have like original.
That's awesome.
Issues. They're not in great shape because they're from this,
Probably a little yellowed, if you will.
But anyway, I have a few of those.
That's awesome.
I have every single Flash comic from 340 to present day.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And I have a
What years
few
that start?
smattering in between of 105 and 340.
What year? What year would that go back to? 340.
340. That's a great question. 340 was
70s probably, or
so it's Trial of
80s?
the Flash. So I would say early 80s.
Earlier.
Okay.
340. It's a great question. I always forget.
Why you like the Flash so much?
Why don't I like the Flash so much? Great question. Okay, yeah, so December 84.
84. Okay.
Why do I like the Flash so much? Well, I don't know. I grew up.
We're not talking
Flash...
the movie. We're talking the character. Right?
Flash was always my favorite superhero growing up. I really don't know why. It just always was. I love the concept of being able to run really fast, and I was one of the fastest kids in my class, and so I always just kind of I don't know why, but I just was like, I'm channeling the Flash, and eventually I'll just be able to go supersonic speeds like the Flash. And I don't know, and I just. Yeah, well,
Nate.
Blame.
There was Iris. Iris was in it.
Good
yeah,
Lord.
Iris has always been around.
The Scarlet Speedster, man.
The thing is, I walked into a comic shop in 2005. I picked up either Flash 219 or 221 was my first Flash comic. One of those two. And I didn't have 220 for like years because I missed that month. I know that. Somehow, but I just started reading the comics, and I was just so enthralled. It's not just the speedster of it all, but it's also his entire rogues galleries. I think one of the best rogues gallery in DC Comics, right behind Batman. I think it's the second best DC rogues gallery, which is I think a fault of this film to not utilize any of the Flash's rogues. Captain Cold, Boomerang, Heat Wave. All those guys are massive in DC Comics.
Jai Courtney should be back. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the top Weather Wizard. I mean, we can go on for days. Yeah, Jai Courtney is Boomerang. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he died.
Gorilla Grodd fall into that category?
Gorilla Grodd. He's a major Flash villain. I'm not in love with
back in time and kill Obama like he did in Legends.
Yes.
I'm not in love with Gorilla Grodd and the Gorilla Society and all that. It's not my favorite Flash comics.
The Gorilla Society.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's whatever. Anyway,
Back to the movie.
Yeah. I did want to get into these comics though.
Flashpoint's
Flash comics. This is his volume 3 of his omnibus.
Oh my goodness!
Which should not be confused with volume 3 of his omnibus.
Oh my gosh!
Which came out first.
Have you considered that if you had spent all the time that you spent reading Flash, maybe studying biology, you probably could have cured cancer by now?
And I wouldn't have had as much fun.
That's right.
Well, that's probably true.
World.
Garrison could have said yes. Yeah, cured it all, but sorry.
Could have avoided this whole COVID mess.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, I should have been doing something more.
I know, right, Earl? You're the only one that's near qualified.
Vaccines, goodness.
Yeah.
I do think we should run through some Flash history just real quick. It's not gonna be Spider-Man.
Yes,
I promise.
All right, guys, settle in.
It's not gonna be Spider-Man. The notes are not written. No, they're outlined plot points.
This is off the top of his head.
People need to know.
Yes, people need to know. Brian, before you start, Brian, we will answer this question later.
It will be answered before the night.
And I promise I'll answer Mikey's question eventually.
What was my question?
How did I feel walking?
Oh yeah, how did you feel when you walked out of the film? Yeah.
All right. First off,
we'll be back, guys. We'll be back.
Flash first appears in the Golden Age comics. Flash Comics #1. Jay Garrick is the Flash. He's got the hat.
He's got the bucket on his head.
Tinny looking hat with the wings on his.
I'm going to stop you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that actor acting surprised that his visage was in this movie?
I don't think it's him though. People have zoomed in on his face.
Yeah. It looked enough like him. I mean, it was the costume.
It looked like Teddy Sears. But
you couldn't put any face on there. Yeah,
it was close to his costume, but they tweaked it apparently too. So.
Yeah, but I think it looked enough like him to make everybody say, "Hey, I saw you in the movie," and he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. I think I should be getting paid. What's going on here?
Used like his slight likeness, but not enough to pay him.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying.
Good for them. They tweaked it enough where they wouldn't have to pay the poor guy who's probably in a ditch. He's probably in a ditch.
He got that CW money.
Yeah. He came out lucky as not looking like a dead-eyed zombie. Some of the others.
Right.
Well, we'll get into that. Okay, anyways, go.
All right, so let me explain something to you. So the superhero comics hit really big around World War II. I think if you're a comic fan, you know that people loved reading heroes around that time, especially guys that were getting involved in the war too. After World War II, there was a thought that, first off, superhero comics stopped selling well. And there was a thought that people just stopped caring about superhero comics. I personally think the stories got stale, and so people just stopped buying. And also, kids grew up and they got jobs, and there are aspects like that too. But basically, comics kind of died. Superhero comics kind of died for a little bit there.
In the DC, especially.
Yeah, and Flash ends at 104 with Flash taking on the Rival, Jay Garrick taking on the Rival, which is basically a reverse Flash. It ends there at 104. We don't get another Flash until 1956.
Oh,
1956, wow. Showcase number 4 in 1956 is the introduction of Barry Allen as the Flash. This is now considered the start of the Silver Age of comics.
Okay.
The original start. Huh?
Thank you, Eisenhower.
Eisenhower.
Yeah.
The original start of the Silver Age, when they were classifying these things, they're all arbitrary and subjective. But the original classification start was Fantastic Four #1, which was 1961, I believe. Now it's been pushed. Now it's been pushed back to Barry Allen's introduction, because Barry Allen kind of revitalized, they feel like, superhero comics around that age, and launched a new title at Flash 105, and carried on from that old numbering into his huge series, which obviously, first issue, Showcase number 4, he's seen reading a Jay Garrick comic and takes inspiration from that comic to become the Flash after he gets his powers. So very inspired by the guy. Then later on, winds up accidentally transporting to his world in the Flash of Two Worlds, Flash 123. We talked about during Spider-Verse, kind of the multiverse starting in the comics. DC started that all. That was written by Gardner Fox and drawn by Carmine Infantino, two of the most influential people on the Flash comics. Gardner Fox also wrote the original Flash comics during Jay Garrick's run. Something important to note: Carmine Infantino was huge during, I think, mainly Barry stuff as an artist. There's a lot of stuff that happens during this period. Wally West gets introduced in Flash 110, I believe. Then he gets his new suit in Flash 135 or whatever.
Kid Flash.
Really Kid Flash. Yes, Kid Flash. And he starts getting his own stories in the back of Flash comics, which I really enjoy. As a Wally West fan, it's great to just read Wally West stories. It's really nice. We get eventually to the point where we start talking about the death of Iris West and
poor Iris.
The trial of the Flash. And these are two major
story arcs.
They end the Barry Allen story, really, and that's Iris gets killed, and then she gets killed by Reverse Flash, and by the time we get to the trial, he's on trial for snapping the Reverse Flash's neck, which is an interesting choice.
He killed his wife. What did they?
Yes, so Reverse Flash killed his wife, and then Barry, there's
sort of like Henry Cavill did with Zod.
Well,
right? Just
the difference is there's some conversation that we don't know if he did it on purpose. He was moving so fast that just the slight crack of tweak of his head at such a fast speed. Did he really commit the murder? Did he mean to commit murder? That's a conversation that happens, and that winds up concluding the Flash comic. We do find out that Iris's soul is in someone else's body or something.
Of course.
Stupid. Yeah.
Of course.
It's comics. Of course. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. She's alive. Yeah, that's fine.
Barry winds up dying in 1985, I think, in Crisis on Infinite Earths. The spoiler alert, he sacrifices himself to save the multiverses, but the multiverse also was being destroyed in Crisis on Infinite Earths because they had way too many Earths out there, and they were trying to reduce all that stuff. That's really what Crisis was all about. You didn't realize Kid Flash? Okay. Interesting.
I didn't know Brian even knew about comics.
Well, hey, let me tell you what, this is bringing in the female viewers. I promise you that.
Yeah, hell yeah. At the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry picks up the costume.
I'm learning a lot.
Wally picks up the costume and basically realizes he has to take up the mantle. Right? It's an important moment in comics. There are a lot of people who didn't like the decision and hated Wally West. And when Wally West was first being written in his first 18 issues, he's written as kind of a jerk and as a guy who
he's a kid.
Is struggling. He's a kid. He's transitioning into adulthood, and he's struggling with having to take up the mantle and be behind such an influential and powerful figure in Barry Allen.
Back then. He was transitioning. That's
Don't
a
listen to
storyline from
listen to Rhett.
back in the day.
Don't listen to Rhett.
When Mark Waid gets on the comic, though, this is important to note. Mark Waid, huge influential writer for The Flash. That's why his stuff is being collected in omnibuses now. He introduces things like the Speed Force. That did not exist during Barry Allen's time. He introduces things like the calorie count stuff. That did not introduce.
Like he has to eat a lot.
That was not around during Barry Allen's time. These were all very Wally-centric things. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens during the run. We don't really need to get into any of that. But flash forward to 2004.
Jeff Johns. Let's go.
Yes, Jeff Johns, exactly.
Flashpoint. Let's go.
Okay. Well, first we should hit on a comic called Green Lantern Rebirth. Green Lantern Rebirth, if you don't know about this comic at home, was the reintroduction of Hal Jordan back into the DC universe after he was turned into Parallax, was turned into a villain and kind of unceremoniously dispatched, and people hated that. And so Jeff Johns wrote this comic redeeming Hal Jordan, bringing him back to life, and everyone loved it. Everyone loved his series where he came back. This all leads up to Jeff Johns writing The Flash.
Ralph just left.
Who cares?
Hey, I like the view though.
Jeff Johns writing
nice.
The Flash. He writes Wally West from the late 90s and until the early 2000s, about 2007-ish. And they end the Wally West comic around 2007, and they decide that they want to bring back Barry Allen. Well, they said, hey, Jeff Johns, you did that Rebirth series with Green Lantern. Why don't you do that with The Flash? And let's storyboard
bring him
stuff.
back.
Let's outline some stuff and let's do this thing. And that's when we get Flash Rebirth, which is sitting way across the room. I can't get to it right now, but it's also collected in Jeff Johns Volume 3 over here. Flash Rebirth and also Final Crisis bring back Barry Allen into the DC universe. Everyone's excited. They're all happy that he's there. Though Barry is like, well, I don't know why I'm here. It feels weird. I felt like everything was resolved except for this one thing from my past that didn't exist in the comics before. The murder of my mother.
Yikes.
Never
So
before.
that was a new thing, right?
That was a
never
new thing.
before in DC Comics until 2009 had Barry Allen's mother been killed by anybody that I'm aware of,
Right.
and especially not Eobard Thawne, which is what winds up happening is Eobard Thawne goes back in time, kills Nora Allen, which sets up Flash Rebirth, the road to Flashpoint, and now, yes, Earl, we're getting to it, Flashpoint. Flashpoint, which is not one of my favorite Flash comics. I like it as an interesting Elseworld story, but it is about the Flash going back and saving Nora Allen. Though, the twist of the story is you don't know that he has gone back and saved her. It opens up on this alternate timeline, and Barry doesn't know why he's there.
Okay.
Then Barry seeks out Barry, like this movie, Barry seeks out Batman, but Batman winds up being Thomas Wayne, as the Reflex in this universe.
Wait, dad?
Bruce got shot in the alley. And Thomas became Batman, and then they don't explain this in the mainline Flashpoint comic, and I kind of hate this one, but Martha becomes the Joker. The dumbest thing.
Don't you think they set that up in
Why'd you say
Batman v
Martha?
Superman with Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Laura Cohen? Like that's casting that you want to carry forward, and I think if this Flash movie had developed into what they had originally intended, I think they were going to be that. But
I think so too.
That was 10 years ago or whatever it was.
Billy Crudup, you mean? Or
anyway, yeah.
No. Thomas Wayne was Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he's a big enough actor that.
That was good casting for these very small roles.
Yeah.
I think that's why they did that.
In this Flashpoint universe, a lot of things are just wonky and wacky. We don't need to get into them all. But Aquaman and Wonder Woman are warring. That's a huge thing that's happening, and they're basically going to destroy the planet if they don't get stopped. Cyborg is trying to put together a team to stop them.
I wonder how come he wasn't in this movie.
That's a whole other.
Snyder's still giving him work. He's in that Rebel thing.
Rebel
right?
Moon. Yeah.
Let me be honest. Cyborg's role in Flashpoint is so minuscule, you don't need him in the film.
Okay. They did mention
thank you.
They did
Thank you
mention
for clearing that
at
up,
least
Garrett.
in the movie. They did mention him in the movie.
Superman is in Flashpoint. He is in a cage, is a scrawny Superman because he's been trapped in a cage from the government for years, the U.S. government in the comics.
Hey, that's like in the movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, and then once he gets in the sunlight, he can really mess some stuff up.
How'd they get him in the cage?
Well, they got him as a baby, and I think he hit Metropolis and blew up and killed a bunch of people.
Okay.
So instead of hitting Kansas, or maybe no, it was Metropolis, I think, and he wound up
Russia, perhaps.
Huh?
Oh, no, never mind. That's the movie.
So, how did they get Supergirl in this case? I don't know.
Well, they just decided to change the story like they did with Bruce Wayne instead of Thomas Wayne.
Well, no, I mean, but she was older though.
Oh, we're talking about how did in the movie? Now that
in the movie
we had our 80 years of Flash history, that was solid. That was solid.
Oh, there's still more, but I could stop.
I'm kidding.
No, but we're up to Flashpoint, so I mean that's where the movies do.
Flashpoint, you have Flashpoint Paradox, which is the animated film, which I think does a decent enough job covering the story.
I animated
I think
films.
the series does a pretty good job too.
Well, about 80% of Flashpoint Paradoxes is the comic. There's about 20% they take liberties with, and some other stuff where they tie in some of the what do you call it, the other stories that happen, the 50 million other tie-in comics that they try to cram some other storylines in there to show you things that were happening in the universe at the same time.
Spinoffs?
Tie-in comics. They didn't really need to do that, but anyway.
Do that. Okay.
Oh yeah, just like when the Jeffersons came over to talk to Archie Bunker. It's a parallel. Oh, sorry.
Did y'all see that Netflix Tadum? By the way, did anybody watch that? I watched it because I wanted to see Rebel Moon stuff, and so
Tadum.
There is a show that India is making about the Archies.
Yes,
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird
about Archie comics.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's the original Archie comics, live action though, and it's Indian actors.
Wow. Earl, if I will give the show some credit, the TV show some credit, real quick. There are certain things I don't like about it, but I do like that they retain the memory loss from the comics. And that the longer he sticks around in this new timeline, the more and more he loses his memories of the other timeline to the point that he'll forget he's Flash, and will just not even know he has the powers anymore. That's what is going to happen in the comics, and that's what would have happened in the show if he didn't go back and let his mother be killed. Which let me just go on a quick rant about that comic. Nora Allen was alive in the Silver Age, and so. The comic goes, okay, Eobard Thawne can affect history. Okay, Eobard Thawne can affect history because he's running off the negative speed force, so he can go and change history. But Barry Allen, it's
a negative and a positive.
He's a speed force, so he can't go back and fix the history that's been changed.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest thing in the
world. Well, that was in the TV show too, right?
And let me a little bit, but
a little bit.
But let me also say, I do like better in the comics. I do later on go to say, oh, Eobard tells Barry, oh, you were sloppy with your fixes. Okay, I can accept that more. You know, that Barry Allen, who hasn't done this much, was sloppier with his time travel than Eobard Thawne was. But don't tell me, oh, it's his negative speed force energy, his anti-speed force.
I've been saying that all along. Why would you say that?
So, question about what they did in the movie. Let's jump in.
Garrison, what do you think about the movie?
My feelings after walking out of the theater. The first 45 minutes I was sitting in the theater, I was like, I was getting goosebumps and chills. Seeing my favorite superhero on the big screen, and when he's starting to run into the Speed Force, I was like, this might be the perfect movie for me. And then the rest of the film happened, and I went, okay, not as great, but there is something about that connection, my own personal connection to the character and what I was seeing on screen at first. 45 minutes, I was like, holy cow, I'm in love with a lot of this.
Did you like that baby part?
I actually like the baby part because it's clearly played for jokes.
It is.
And
It was. Yeah.
And yes, the CGI is not great, but the fact that it was the baby was falling and a woman was falling and a therapy dog was falling.
Right.
I still can't believe they actually used real babies for that.
Especially the one they put in the microwave.
Yeah.
Man, they're putting a real baby in a
microwave.
Real quick aside before we go too far. Now I know Batman has a plan for all of the Justice League. What's his plan for the Flash? How does he off the Flash?
He's got some plan. I don't
shoot him
really
in the
like
kneecap.
I don't know.
Like
Doom.
He heals quick. I thought you don't know how Batman would handle Flash if it came down to it. Is that
Watch Justice League Doom.
Well, yeah. I thought that would just be
That's
something.
not a comics thing. We just,
Was it not? I just assumed it came from the comics.
No,
it's such a minor thing that, and you don't like heroes fighting against heroes all the time. Batman really doesn't face off against Flash. And
no, I know he doesn't, but he has a contingency. That's the thing about Batman is that he had a contingency for each of the Justice League if they ever went bad that he knew what to do, and I just didn't know what that was for Flash.
I can't remember, but I know
you could deprive him of glucose and just
deprive him of glucose.
I don't work for anybody.
My energy's down to locks up all the vending machines. Which was a great scene, by the way. He looked like he was going for the babies.
Yes, that's right. He straps a miniature bomb to his arm that if he vibrates or tries to like speed out of it would detonate immediately.
Oh.
So he has to continue to it's kind of like Speed, I think, sort of. I also think he has to run fast too, but
except the opposite.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So Roth, how many times did you see it? First of all,
I've seen it twice.
Yeah, you went and saw it twice. Yeah.
Saw it on Thursday. Saw it last night.
Cool.
My first viewing, I cut out of work early. Went and saw it at 3:40.
Nice.
Movie ended. I checked my email, and our new traffic person had screwed everything up, so I had to sprint back to the office. Oh, no. So I didn't really get to.
Too bad you weren't the Flash.
Right. I didn't really get to
enjoy
let the movie wash over me.
I hear you. Yeah.
So I when I got home that night, I was like, "How did that movie end?" So I had to go see it again because I was like, "Oh, I think it was like this," but
you were too busy thinking about work.
When he's running into Gotham. And all of the Batman stuff in Gotham was awesome.
Yeah, I did like all that.
I agree with that.
Except for his suit. Yeah.
Some of the middle, there's so many parts of this movie where I'm like, this is awesome. And then like a second later, I'm like, that was stupid. That was awesome. So it's a very confusing movie for me.
It's a back and forth,
yeah.
The end, like once he gets the powers, the movie goes, and it pretty good fight stuff. And even story. And the little twist at the end is awesome too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I enjoyed this movie a fair amount. I'm just a little bit confused on how I actually feel about it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good.
And the quality of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
By people on the internet.
No.
I have not been.
I haven't been
on
really
the internet about this movie.
Yeah, I really haven't either that much.
It's 1 out of 10 worst movie I've ever seen.
No, I haven't done all that. I haven't.
I'm saying it's just like half the Twitter conversation.
Well, it's like either they love it or they hate it. All these people saying it's the greatest superhero movie ever made.
That's too far.
Tiny. You're talking about Zaslav. I mean, that's like the only dude that actually said that quote.
Said some stupid crap about it. I mean, like there are a lot of people.
That was at the beginning before.
That's what's coming here, and that ain't what we got. I'm for sure.
For some reason, right now, my Twitter algorithm is only feeding me why The Batman is like the greatest superhero movie ever made, and I hardly disagree with it, and so it's infuriating.
Yeah, obviously, Blade is the greatest superhero movie.
Yeah, 98 Blade. So, Red, I know you've only seen it one time. I mean, what was your feeling coming out?
Only ever see it one time.
Well, I'm saying just because I don't have time. But what's your thoughts on it?
I think the movie's a mess owing to the behind the scenes story from the last 10 years. You know, there were 3 different heads of the studio that had a hand in it. You know, there were multiple endings and plot lines that, you know, they started and they trashed and they came back around. And then obviously James Gunn, coming in and kind of ending the whole thing probably did not serve it particularly well. Although I think that was late enough to where it didn't have too much of an effect. Probably just the very tail end. But I think it's a mess of a movie. I think Ezra Miller is a lunatic, and I did not like the way he played his younger self at all. I just hated almost every single thing about it. But I was entertained by it. It seems like the movie understood that it was kind of stupid, and it did the stupid thing. Like it really leaned into the stupid things, like the baby stuff at the beginning. Like I started off angry at that because it was so stupid and it was ugly. It was like really ugly from an effect standpoint. And then by the time
the effects before that of him running, I thought was beautiful.
What's that?
The effects of him like running into the city, I thought was so well.
That was
the best
good.
Flash running.
Really, the thing that worked
effects.
on the most.
The CGI humanoids that just didn't work, but even as that scene went on, it got stupider and stupider, and it kind of crossed that threshold of, well, it's stupid enough to where I enjoy it. I get it. Like I understand what they're doing here. I didn't like all the Batman stuff. I thought it was out of
really
or
which Batman stuff? I'm sorry.
The Affleck stuff.
Oh, okay.
Really?
The Affleck stuff.
I like that.
It felt more Tim Burton, or almost some of it was almost Schumacher to me. Like it was a little campy, like the way he kind of tumbled around, and it seemed it didn't seem like the Affleck Batman, the same one who was like, if there's even a 1% chance that Superman's going to do anything, we have to kill him. It didn't seem like the same character.
That's true. Although he was lighter.
I know he toned it down a little bit after that. He had evolved as a character, but I didn't love that, and I thought his CGI was pretty rotten. Him rolling around was pretty rough.
Oh, I thought
it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
You look closer.
That one was fine, I think.
Yeah. But so
near the end,
I found the emotional beats were pretty good. The scene at the end with his mother, I thought was fantastic.
That's how I think Ezra Miller probably dresses, with the tag still on, stolen clothes in real life.
Derelict.
But he probably didn't wipe all the blood off his face.
He just wandered onto set. That was his stuff that he had
they cut camera before he choked the actress playing his mother. Right?
Oh, good grief.
I'm just kidding.
Come on.
Allegedly.
Although that's on film.
No touching. No touching.
All that to say, it was a mess. Good riddance to Ezra Miller. The last act. I mean, I got there are a couple of really specific points I want to make as we get into more discussion. But
we'll wrap up. We'll get into all that.
Stupid, but I was entertained.
Earl.
Yeah,
and I know you're a pretty big Flash fan.
I am. Like, I really like the TV show. I haven't read as much as Garrison, of course. I haven't
of course.
I didn't travel back to the 50s.
Who has?
Yeah. But no, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this movie. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it that there was kind of a tie-in with sort of this Back to the Future type time travel concept, and I kind of enjoy when they do things like that. I think there were some wild swings. I do agree with Rhett. Sometimes things really hit big. Sometimes things seemed a little wonky, and I think the third act kind of went, a little, it kind of went off the rails a little bit sometimes, but I thought it was a pretty satisfying movie overall. I think Keaton was fine. I liked how Keaton played the older Batman, and look, Machete took some big swings. He knew he was in this area, and I know it's been cobbled and fixed, and some things had to be taken out because the changing of the DCU from DCEU to DCU.
Well, and my thought on that is, I wonder if he felt a bit of freedom to do whatever the crap he wanted to.
Well, there's some possibility of that.
Because he knew that there was no stakes after this movie, really. I mean,
I wonder where the wackier cameos came in. Like, I know
that one at the end.
I know how it worked out, but
last
even
minute
in the middle with all the
that's the
legacy versions of the characters. I wonder when that happened in the development.
Yeah.
Well, that's Crisis on Infinite Earths or something.
That's absolutely set up for a crisis event, which
Yeah.
is what they were trying to go for when this movie was being made.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can't do that movie. They're not going to do a CGI Helen Slater, for a longer period of time than a zombie-eyed glimpse.
So what? And that's not what I. So I don't think they'll actually use those characters. I was saying that the crashing of the Earths was a setup for a later crisis thing, which they would have brought in live actors to do.
Yeah, you mean if the Snyder verse kind of had survived?
Well, the Hamada version too. I mean, he got Cavill back to do all that, I think, but yeah, they just didn't.
Who's Hamada?
Walter Hamada.
Yeah, the guy who was
the executive. He was the executive at the time.
Got the heave-ho.
He got the heave-ho. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with Roth. I love that first run where he sat back and they did that. I thought that was some of the better. I like the way they did the running, and
Me too.
I thought that was, and even the phasing was cool.
I don't love the ice skater stuff, but I do like the way I like the display of the running versus the world around him better than the CW stuff personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still think the best was First Class with that
absolutely
running in First Class.
Oh no, yeah, Quicksilver set the standard.
Quicksilver's not in First Class, so.
Or whatever he's in. Days of Future Past. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
they'll never top that speedster type scene there. But this I like that this wasn't just a copy of that at all.
Right.
I mean,
they're trying to do their own thing. Sure.
There were elements because that's just kind of the way that works. But I'm glad they tried to do something a little new with it.
So, man, I mean, I went in really excited for it. I mean, I like Batman, specifically Ben Affleck's Batman a lot. I think Keaton's Batman's Keaton's Batman's probably my favorite of all time. And I watched Batman and Batman Returns leading up to this. Not that they really had anything to do with it, but just to
more than Bale.
Yeah, the more I think about Bale as Batman, the less I like.
You need to rewatch those movies.
I do need to rewatch them, and I do like them a lot. But I also like Keaton's portrayal of Bruce Wayne a lot better than I like Christian Bale's portrayal of Bruce Wayne.
I like Kilmer more than Keaton.
Oh no! You guys are too young. What are you guys talking about? You guys are crazy with that. Anyway, so I was excited when I found out that Keaton was going to be in this, and I know that's not what you want to get drawn in to go see a movie about the Flash. Is the characters around him? You want to be excited about the Flash, and I was. I mean, I think Ezra Miller is a good actor, and so I think he can pull. He was pulling the character off. I liked his portrayal in Justice League. I thought it was fine. He had the humorous. He can pull off humor well. I think he's a good actor. I think he's got comedic timing. He knows what he's doing. He's got dramatic chops, and so he kind of brought the whole package as far as the acting aspect of the character is concerned. But again, I have no comic background whatsoever to the Flash. So
he's not Barry Allen.
I had no baggage of that coming in at all.
Sure he is. That's the character he played.
So I don't know anything about Wally West, Barry Allen. I don't know anything about them from a comic standpoint. So my Flash was this portrayal, and I watched some of the TV series as well, and I do like that portrayal as well. But I mean, as far as
you watched almost all of the TV series.
No, I didn't. I watched most of the first 4 seasons. Then I stopped, and then I tried to watch this last season.
You caught up at the end. Okay, all right. I knew you were watching this last one and gave up.
I gave up. It was horrible. I had to stop watching. It was painful, and I usually don't do that. I usually try to power through.
I'm trying. I've still got 5. Every time I'm like, how can there be 7 more episodes of this? I'm literally trying to power through it. It's turned into some kind of soap opera-ish.
Yeah.
Every time I see a clip of it, I think it's a parody making fun of it, and then I find out it's real.
Here's the problem with the show, and it worked for the first 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah, it was good for the first several seasons. Yeah.
But Flash is not a team. It's not a team. The Flash is the Flash,
right?
And he's got his girlfriend who Iris, who supports him, or Linda West, who supports him.
Linda,
listen, Linda
West, yeah.
That must have been from the 50s. That was
Linda's
the
an old
Linda
name,
West
yeah.
from the 50s.
That was his second wife.
My
I've
mother
literally
was
never heard
named
of Linda
Linda.
West.
He was the last person named Linda in America.
Yeah, there's never been
It's in the show.
I don't know anybody named Linda.
It's in the show. What season?
Linda, I think she's Linda Park or whatever. She's in the first season. She's like a love interest for Barry, but it's Wally's freaking wife.
She's 60.
Is it the blonde?
Linda.
She's Asian. She should be, I think.
I kind of remember that. I got 2 episodes into season 7, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the one. That's the one. Oh
I
my
made it
gosh.
at least 4, and then I was like, nope, I'm done.
Wait, is season 7 the last one? Anyway.
No,
Yeah.
No, 9.
There's 9 seasons.
Yeah,
No,
7 was
seven's
the
the
one
one.
that had that move that clip made about
Yeah,
it.
they were fighting with their logos.
Yeah.
Lord,
Yes.
See, I did not make it to that.
good Lord.
That's
was
what I
terrible.
liked better about this movie in terms of the display of powers than the show where they've turned into lightsaber lightning blades.
Oh,
No, you're
right.
Is
you're right.
in the
That was
comics he can discharge some lightning sometimes, and I liked the little connection. You got to
Yeah.
you know, whatever the circuit
Bark.
complete. The
That was a
circuit.
funny line, too. What if I Emperor Palpatine this guy, or whatever he says?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, "What
Hear
if I
that.
am?" Oh,
I need
yeah.
to rewatch it. It's oh my
No, you
gosh.
don't.
Brad,
There
let's
were
go
some
again.
pretty
You know
good
it's a
like pop
joy.
culture bits. The whole bit about the Back to the Future thing with Eric Stoltz.
Yeah,
and-
that was really funny.
Yeah,
And
then we moved
Footloose
We,
and-
we put Michael J. Fox in Footloose. And I guess
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon was in Top Gun, that movie that they play
Yeah.
volleyball and
With the gay
2
guys.
gay
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I like that kind of crap. Like I liked it. Like it told me that the movie kind of understood what it was,
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
it was, and so it enabled me to forgive some of the other stupid things that I didn't think were as funny. Because, well, I mean, this, it kind of is what it is. I mean, like I didn't love the eating stuff, and I know the calorie deal. I understand it. I mean, that's also the amount of energy exerted is that candy bar is not going to cover it, but that's beside the point.
Right.
Right.
I got to tell you, the comic writers don't care about that.
I know.
It barely ever gets used in Flash comics.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
just like it was just a silly thing to be preoccupied with, and I don't know why they
all the
like,
time.
we never needed that explanation.
No.
I don't think, and it didn't really create any tension. It was just a silly little thing.
Just in the baby scene, that was it.
Well, but that
And
even
it was done
then
for a gag when he
Yeah,
played
it was just for a gag, and
Yeah.
Well, Andy, when he was eating the spaghetti, he was
Yeah,
like
the hot dog.
I
scarfing
hated
it
that.
down.
Like that
Yeah.
takes me out. The sauce on the face just
that
makes
takes
me
you out.
it took me out of it. I was like, makes me want to turn away from the screen and not watch it because it's just gross and stupid. Like nobody behaves. People don't behave. I mean, like,
Messy eating is Rhett's
that's
law.
that's not an adult behavior, right?
But he was
Well,
the
he
18-year-old.
was that was the 18-year-old
So
Flash.
at 18-year-old, you're an adult, and you ought to. know. I didn't smear
Well,
spaghetti
not
on my
America.
face.
Retta,
Graduating from high school.
Retta, I have bad things to tell you about some 18-year-olds out there.
Hell, I mean, I know some of them are idiots, but okay. But if he's an idiot, then like the good things that he does, the mature decisions he makes, make him that doesn't jive. It was really silly, and it was just for like physical shock and make you uncomfortable. I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable, which I guess way to go. You did it.
Well, the one thing I didn't like about that scene was, I thought this was the cousins' dinner. What?
Yeah, that was all dumb.
What are you talking about, dude? It was
was
clearly
because-
hinting towards something else. What?
So I don't know. Do we have an agenda, or can I just say
No. Now we're just going in now.
All right, so I like the last act was pretty good. I thought look, the Kryptonians. I'm with you, Garrison.
I think we had
Why did
Fiora.
we never got any Flash rogues? Anybody from
Yeah,
the
I was wondering why they did
Kryptonians,
that. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
That doesn't really. That's not a Flash thing.
No.
And he didn't do particularly well against them either, which was
No.
kind of okay. So it was okay. I like. This is a little bit of a reach here, maybe, but the Keaton Batman being kind of a return, like a darker, edgier Batman, right?
Yes,
You had the Adam West camp, and then when you finally got the '89 Batman, it was looking back, it's not very dark, but at the time, it was a little darker.
Dark at the
Yeah,
time.
it was.
So
Yeah.
I like that that universe, and maybe we're not exactly the 89 universe here. I don't know, but that Batman universe ended. Like it was dark to the point that there was no saving it. It absolutely ended. Kryptonians took over the planet and destroyed all of humanity. Right?
That's what Red likes.
That kind of closed the loop a little bit for me on that Batman universe. Like, here's the Return to Darkness, and in fact, it's so dark that everyone dies. There's nothing you can do. There's no saving it. They all die. I like that Supergirl died. Right? She was not girl boss. They did not. I mean, she did amazing Superman
she
type,
struggled, right?
Supergirl type thing. She was great, but she did not outclass everybody.
Not a general, not a Kryptonian general.
I kind of like that. There was no overt messaging of this girl boss tendency that we have out of a lot of movies right now. They did not do that with the character. I didn't feel like this was a setup for the DCU or whatever, the nonsense that you hear. I've never felt any of that. So that I kind of liked that it was just this grim, awful end to that universe.
It's like one and done by Supergirl. Knife to the gut.
Now, I don't know why. Why is she susceptible to piercing damage?
That is Kryptonian blades.
Well, then why didn't we fight with Kryptonian blades?
But that's what the Younger Barry's trying to do. He keeps getting pierced by him. He's trying to kill the.
I know that. I get that. I mean, like in Man of Steel, we weren't worried about Kryptonian blades in Man of Steel.
I don't know that anyone really had access to him, and I don't know why Zod didn't attack Superman with him. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, that just seems you don't. Usually their deal is
maybe they were just at the feats of strength part of Festivus.
Maybe
they were just they hadn't gotten to the blades part yet.
And her capture went unexplained, which is fine. Was there a green tent there? Did they have some?
Explained it. They captured her as a baby.
I don't care. I don't care why were able to hold her in captivity for so long.
No sunlight.
She had her suit, right? She had her little Supergirl outfit with the cape and all. So had she been Supergirl?
Yes.
And then they caught her.
That's her suit from Krypton, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but I don't. But it fit her.
I don't think she was a baby. I don't think she was a baby when she came to Earth. She was an adult already.
I could imagine a scenario where she crashes down. She's knocked out. The government gets there first, puts her in a cage underneath the ground, and
sure.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe.
Rush in their rush.
How about Feora Ul being back? I was going to see Feora Ul or whatever her name is. I'm looking at. I had to look at.
Yeah, that girl that plays Feora is really something for me.
She actually shot stuff. No lines, but she actually shot stuff.
No, that was her. Yeah, she showed up. Now 10 or 11 years older. Still got it. I liked her a lot in Man of Steel.
It's like when they brought Ula back for Return of the Jedi special.
Yeah. Or that girl from Blade Runner.
Yes.
They reshot.
Yeah, they reshot.
Oh dear. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was kind of one of the things that I really wanted to cover was I like that universe just slap ended.
No happiness in that universe.
Yeah, and it was, and just it being that Keaton Batman, I thought was kind of a close the loop for me. I don't know that it was intended that way, but that's kind of how it felt for me.
Yeah, I liked all that. I wish they had gone different villains. Also, I didn't understand the
Zod.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they did that because.
But I do think that was your way of destroying a universe.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, you're right.
Why they did that?
I just wish they would have gone with a classic Flash villain. I think that would have been appropriate.
Maybe at the very beginning, like for the first scene, it would have been
like a throw somebody
villain
in there.
Captain Cold.
But it also justifies Kal-El killing Zod, right? Like,
this film completely justifies Man of Steel.
It retroactively justifies that, but everybody complained about it. Oh, that's not Superman. Well, if you don't kill him, he destroys the planet.
Yeah, he destroys the planet.
And also, those superheroes were around, but they just weren't good enough, or they wouldn't have been able to help save anyone. He could only help save the kid, but not the father. And
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
what's going on, Ted? Thanks for stopping by, man.
Retcon's going on there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Retro Blasting was live streaming.
I don't know what retro.
Wait, we're second. We're second to.
I don't know what retro blasting is.
If there's some things I do like, really like the flashiness about this
I think
film.
it's shooting muskets.
Oh, okay.
Retro blasting.
Shooting muskets.
The flashiness.
An old timey sticks of dynamite with the fuse.
Put the powder in there.
Retro blasting.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Garrison. We're sorry.
The flashiness of the film, I really loved that Barry Allen was continually late to things.
Yes, that was
the beginning of the film, because that's if you ever read Silver Age Barry Allen, he is always showing up late due to his responsibilities as a superhero.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Iris is getting onto him all the time and buys him a watch because he's showing up late all the time in the comics. And you know, it's just a funny thing that happens in the comics. I love that showed up, but it was affecting his job. I thought that was interesting, an interesting way to introduce that. You had just a lot of callbacks to Rebirth too, when they're having the conversation about, and this happens in just media in general about cases and stuff like that. But then when they're talking about rushing these cases,
like the first three or four forensics lab,
the first 3 or 4 pages of Rebirth, Flash Rebirth, get into that very same thing. Not Barry Allen talking about it, but 2 other CSI guys talking about, oh, we just got to get this case done, and this guy's clearly guilty of something, blah blah blah, and then they get murdered by Eobard Thawne.
No, not really, Brian. I mean, this was clearly, you know, part of the DCEU.
Oh, it was cinematic.
I mean, it was cinematic for sure. Yeah.
It was big scope. Big scope.
Yeah, and the effects on the TV show are better.
I think
no.
If I'm going to be
maybe Grodd, but
honest, I think my biggest point with this film is, as a Flash fan, it felt like a lot of this was done for Flash fans instead of the general audience.
Okay,
and some of that will hurt with the general audience, and I think that's why you've seen some of the reactions you've gotten, not just on the cameo stuff. That's a different conversation, but you know, there are certain things that just aren't going to hit with the audience because they seem dumb or stupid, but they are also pulled from Flash comics.
I am puzzled as to why this movie is not doing well financially. I don't.
It's
I don't
a fun
understand.
movie.
I don't understand.
A lot of things going against it.
I really think, and I'm being 100% serious here, I think DC is damaged as a brand.
Maybe.
I think that's a big part. I don't think Batman's damaged. I think Batman's the
and
one.
Joker's not damaged. I think Joker will do fine.
Well, Joker's a part of the Batman universe, and there is a Batman in this, but I don't think enough people care about Keaton.
I think it's people are tired of multiverse stuff.
Yeah,
and it being released within the same span of so many of these.
Like, there's 3 movies
across
in
the
a row.
Spider-Verse being so good that, and it was released a week earlier.
And ironically, they started this multiverse. I mean, this thing's been in development for 10 years. You know,
the original
come out then would have been groundbreaking, and now it's old hat.
I think DC absolutely is a damaged brand. I think people know that this movie is inconsequential to the rest of the DC.
I think really. I mean, you think general? I just don't know general audience.
I think enough people do. Like maybe not. Like maybe they don't like understand. Like it's like they don't know it as well as we do. But
right.
They know that there's a new guy in charge of DC for the most part, maybe that did some of the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, and he didn't do this one.
And general audiences have checked out on the DCEU, I think. So it's not general audiences that go see this anyway.
What was the last DCEU
like
movie
us.
before
there are enough of us to
Shazam
make
2.
a difference. But I think a lot the people who the target audience for this movie know that it's a mess, and then like they know it's a dead end. So that works. I do believe that works against it. That it's
and so technically speaking, I guess Wonder Woman 84 was the last DCEU movie.
No,
Shazam 2.
Shazam's not
And
DCEU.
Black Adam.
Yes, it is.
It definitely is.
No, they
Black
never.
Adam.
Shazam 2 is DCEU. What are you talking about? Why is Gal not in the film?
Yeah, because
they tried to
Cavill's in
talk you out of it on this last one because they know it's the franchise is dead and they wanted you to come see it. And it was always part of the DCEU.
Yeah, Cavill was in the first
I guess
one, right?
Black Adam maybe
Was it?
kind of. Yeah.
Flash, Shazam, Black Adam, The Suicide Squad,
Aquaman.
Justice League '84.
Yeah, they're all
EU.
They're all the same turd.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You can't shine it. It's impossible to shine it.
I enjoyed the Suicide Squad personally.
Yeah,
I did.
think
I
this-
liked the Suicide Squad a lot. Yeah.
I actually don't think a lot of people put the Suicide Squad as like the best DCEU movie, and I think I
I
disagree
don't know
with
about
that.
Yeah, no, the Flash is the best. Yeah.
No. Man of Steel's the best.
No, Man of Steel
Absolutely
stinks.
Oh, dude,
It's
I
Zack Snyder's
love
Justice
Man of
League.
Steel.
Probably
I
Wonder
love.
Woman.
I love Henry Cavill.
Wonder Woman's good. The original.
I like
Wonder Woman
Shazam
was
better than
okay,
Wonder
and
Woman
then,
personally.
I mean, look, Shazam are the ones that feel the best. Like
Shazam's
Yeah.
number 3.
Yeah,
I have
fun.
Zack Snyder, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Aquaman, The Suicide Squad, The Flash.
Okay.
Eh,
Oh yeah, I forget how fun Aquaman was. Like it.
Yeah,
It's
the
cheesy
original
fun.
one. Yeah, it was. What
And
is
it
this?
looks awesome.
Next one's going to be too good, but
I just don't understand like why they're even bothering releasing that movie. But whatever.
because they
What?
spent
We
$200 million
They
on
spent too
it.
much
probably.
money on it, but they may
Yeah.
pause and think about it and go
You know,
direct.
this movie now, seeing how it plays out, it makes more sense why they pulled Batgirl, right? Because
Mm.
you know you were going to have Keaton be her mentor on that and kind of usher in this
Well-
new hero, and he did. You know, he did not survive this universe, and I know there were a couple of different endings.
Well,
that
they changed
shot.
that, right?
They're on the steps of the courthouse with Cavill, with Gal Gadot, with the Supergirl,
Mhm.
with Keaton. You know,
All
they did
changed
all
with the
these
can of
different
tomatoes.
variations of it. Yeah, you know, the early production shots of Supergirl were in front of that courthouse. If you remember, you know, she was on wires.
And Keaton
there.
in his suit.
So you know, but when they realized where this movie was going to have to go, then you couldn't do Batgirl anymore. You know, it just wouldn't have fit and I know they're loose with the continuity anyway, but they've been better at it than some, and it just wouldn't have worked anymore.
I think basically what the result of the film would have been was he still affected the timeline doing the cans, and so his consequence would have been that Keaton was still Batman and Supergirl was still around. But I actually like that. I actually like that his consequences. He's stuck in the stupid Clooney, whatever it's called.
Yeah, she's still in Aquaman, Brian.
Yeah, no, she's a major part of it. Like they couldn't
Schumacher verse. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Schumacher.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's probably too. I don't think they thought it out that hard. I mean,
no. But
yeah.
But my headcanon is I love that he faces the consequences of being stuck in the Schumacher verse.
Oh yeah,
right. I do like that.
Like the whole franchise was there for a while.
Yeah.
We should have had Arnold walk out as Mr. Freeze. Like,
Yes.
Oh man.
I tell you,
frozen.
I was not expecting Clooney.
That they did so
that
good
was a
keeping
shocker.
that.
Yeah,
You know,
I
way
know
they
Garrison
shot it-
probably knew, but
the way they shot it, you knew it wasn't going to be
Someone else.
Affleck, and that was fine. But I was like, well, are they gonna do Pattinson so you have an easy transition? What are you doing? But then Clooney walks up, and I'm like, well, that's the best way they could have done that.
yeah.
And I had no idea about the Nick Cage thing either. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I got
that was
spoiled on that by
Yeah.
somebody in this chat, right?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to.
It was he sent a link and I scrolled to the comments and somebody in the comments spoiled it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't his.
There were a lot of headlines that had it in the headline.
I had avoided all those. I had avoided somehow
Look,
avoided all those.
Them, I leaned over as soon as I knew he was coming, but as soon as he showed up on screen, I leaned over to Earl or Michael One and said, "Please give me a giant robot spider."
Yeah.
And sure enough,
and there it was.
giant robot spider, which was just the dumbest thing. You know?
I love that. I started laughing.
Yeah.
I
That's great. Like
audible
that,
noise.
that cemented for me that
Yeah.
this movie is stupid. It has a lot of problems, but it knows what it's doing with it. So
Yeah.
that I'm like, that's fine.
The only problem with that scene is it's another scene where if you're a fan and you know Superman lives, you're like, that is awesome.
Yeah, nobody
if
gets it.
If you're not, you're like, what the hell is Nick Cage doing here?
Yeah, why is he in this?
Or was that Nick Cage? I mean, like it was a weird facsimile of him, right?
It was
like,
uncanny valley.
He took the simulacrum
When you realize who it is, I'm like, I made an audible noise. I was like, "Oh, Nick Cage!"
Here's the crazy thing.
I think I woke up the guy next to me.
He actually shot that.
They shot that in studio with him and Helen Slater, both of them.
Really?
No.
And then they did. They did.
Yeah,
They CGI'd over them because in the Chronodome, everything is CGI. So they wanted to go with our
well, they
cartoonish look for
de-aged them
everything.
too, right?
And yeah, that too. But they wanted to go for a cartoonish look for everything. So they called him into the studio and Helen Slater. They shot both those.
Yeah.
And then de-aged them.
Did George Reeves? Did they bring George Reeves back from the dead?
Mikey's dead.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Adam West. They got them all.
They put the CGI skin on his skull.
Corpses out there. Hey, I will. Supergirl era Helen Slater is top notch. Okay,
I love that she landed next to Christopher Reeve.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
She's been on that Supergirl show.
Yes.
She has.
Yeah, she's been.
She still looks,
she's
aged well.
That movie sucks. Movie sucks real hard.
Supergirl?
Yes.
Like it is just terrible. But
Catwoman or Supergirl, which is the worst?
I mean, no.
Halle Berry.
Ooh, that's a tough comparison.
I think dollar for dollar, I think Catwoman is worse. It was meant to be a serious production,
right?
And holy smokes, she was an Academy Award winner at that point.
Yeah.
Man, that movie,
Yeah. It was rough.
Let's just let AI write all the super.
Okay, I need to know, like, is there a precedence for this particular villain, like the way they did the final villain in the comics? Is this a storyline from the comics?
Oh, you mean Reverse Flash? Isn't that?
Is that what this was?
It's kind of Reverse Flashy.
Sort of.
Like the whole Krypton knives and all that stuff, like him building the knives all around it.
I saw something that it's based on a run of Reverse Flash, but I don't really understand.
They label him as Dark Flash, which is not really one that I'm familiar with personally. Off the top of my head, I didn't really do research into that because I didn't really.
They had him in the yellow. I don't know if you noticed that at one point when they're sitting in his bedroom. The young Flash is in yellow, and then Barry's in red.
Yeah, just as an homage.
Sort of playing off. Now again, that's really supposed to be Eobard Thawne, who's the Reverse Flash, right?
Right.
Garrison.
Well, and Machete said that Eobard did murder his mom. We just that would be the second movie conflict. He would know that then, and Eobard would be the bad guy in that film. But
but they won't.
Too bad we're not
going to get that. Yeah, because the writer strike's never going to end.
That's not why we're not getting that, Mike.
I know.
I don't know. In Rebirth, Barry becomes a Black Flash at one point. That kind of
that's
itself.
racist.
Like Justin Trudeau.
I don't think we
no. Black Flash was that's the Flash that you see as a messenger of death kind of thing.
Yeah, like in the
that was
TV
a
series.
freaky. That whole thing was freaky. I mean, that was just
it was introduced by I think Grant Morrison and Mark Miller when they were writing in between Mark Waid's runs, and I think you can see him right here.
Oh,
the scary Flash.
He's got like the claw. He's got
Edward
the claw.
Scissorhands Flash.
Yeah. Black Flash. Interesting. Did they ever? They didn't ever use that character in the TV series.
Yes,
did
they did. Yep.
They did use Black Flash. Okay, they used everything. They used every single
Avatar.
You're telling me I literally a slight diversion here. I have every Flash comic since 340, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss a month here or there, and sometimes I miss a month, and it's been about a year, and I need to go back and get that month because I want to catch up on the series, and I just had to put it down because my life got busy. And I like reading them in chunks anyway, because you get the complete story.
Yeah.
There was an issue I was missing. I looked it up. The Flash premiered an episode about a week or two before I looked this up with a villain that was introduced in that comic, and the price of that freaking comic went up to like $40.
Oh, dang.
And I'm like, what the heck?
From the TV show?
Well, the TV show premiering that character in an episode, all of a sudden the price of that comic shot way up on eBay, and I was like,
probably. Considering the state of that show, it's probably back down now.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I didn't wind up spending that. I think I wound up spending like 20-something bucks on it eventually, but yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot more Flash facts, I can tell you. Flash facts, that's the thing Barry Allen says a lot in the comics nowadays.
Flash facts.
Yeah.
Flash facts.
I hate that.
This was a one quadrant movie, I think.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah, just Garrison.
White dude with glasses.
Guys with shirts like this with the flash on them.
And I'll be completely honest. I don't love Ezra. I don't like his younger version performance. I do like his adult performance, but he's still not Barry Allen to me.
Yeah.
He's more Wally West, although he's still not Wally to me.
I can fix things.
And that doesn't hurt me. I mean, obviously I don't have an attachment to the comics, but as long as they're an internally consistent character, it's okay, you know. And I felt he probably achieved that. I did really like that last scene with his mother.
Yes,
that was
really
great.
That was good. That was good.
And the scene.
You know, I like Ron Livingston in everything, and I wish somebody had said, "Hey, what's your cornhole, Peter?" I think that would have been a good line.
Yes.
No, I like the scene where...
Actually, Roth, you've got a good mustache where you could say that line right now.
You look a little bit like Vader on the.
Are we talking Office Space?
Yeah, Office Space.
The greatest American movie, by the way.
It's up there.
It's right up there.
The first half is really good. The second half, I think it falls off.
You're probably right.
Office Space?
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
That's fair, I guess. Whatever.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I don't know. No, I think one of the really best acting scenes I thought was when like young Flash or 18-year-old Flash is just like, blah, 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 blah. And then Barry just loses it on and goes, you don't know what it's like.
in the Batcave.
In the Batcave, when they have that moment where they're confronting each other and he says, you don't know what it's like to lose your mother. And I don't know. I was not expecting him to rise to that level of dramatic acting. I think
he doesn't fully say you don't know what it's like to lose your mother, but we understand that's what he's saying. We understand as the audience that's what he's saying. But young Barry's kind of confused in that moment.
Why being such a dick?
And then he's revealed later. It's revealed later on when he's listening into the conversation with Keaton and Barry. I like the setup of all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I thought that seems.
I like the visual of the Frankenstein business where they
have
to get his powers back, but I don't like.
That's straight out of the comics.
It's really easy to get his powers back, though. I mean, if you count being struck by lightning is easy, but like if that's the story you can recreate with a quick formula and some electricity, like well, there can be a lot of people doing that, right? So I didn't like how easy that was. You know, it didn't really, other than to create that I don't know. You probably could have written around that. No, I get that it's whatever it's inspiration.
I see a Batman.
Oh, that's awesome. No, he's in the chair. He's getting all shocked.
It's a dumb thing that you can.
And it plays out basically the same way in the sense that Batman, shocks him once and he turns into like a crispy dude, although worse in the comic. And then the second time it works.
He heals. Yeah, I mean, I just, in a world where it's that easy to get powers, then there are probably a lot of people with powers. I think, and maybe there are. I don't know, but I didn't. But I like
the idiots going out and shocked.
If you need an explanation, I always kind of read it as, because I had that same thought in watching the Flash show. Like, if you can just get struck by lightning by sitting next to these chemicals, and then Barry has to recreate it there at some point too. There's a little bit more to it because the reactor thing had to be going off or whatever at the same time. But I always kind of read it as the chemicals mixing with the Barry Allen DNA is the reason for it.
Yeah. And that's okay. That I considered that probably was it too.
He's got some good midichlorians.
It really works out for him.
That would not line up with comics canon. I would just say only for the fact that there's like 40 different speedsters that have gotten their powers out.
Comics are for nerds.
Yeah. I do like that when he gets shocked the second time, he canonically has flash symbol in his eyes when he gets his powers back.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
He needs a smaller ring.
That ring's big.
The logo on the ring is huge.
The ring's awesome.
And you can just look at it and be like, "Oh, you're Flash.
Oh, you're the Flash, aren't you?"
Yeah.
No, I'm just a big fan.
Yeah.
It was interesting how in the DCEU it seems like people are fans of all the superheroes. Like they run into them.
That was a good scene too, where he's about to start running and the title screen's coming up. Oh my God, Flash! And
Mikey,
with the candy bar.
That's DC Comics as well. Versus Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics is a lot of the public turns on the heroes a lot.
Right.
Which may be a thing that would happen. But DC is a lot about hope, and the people really put their trust into the heroes, and they're fanboys of the heroes a lot. Yeah.
That's why I like the DC stories more. Kind of what
and they really have not done any of that except for like you said, the people are just mad at them. Like I was rewatching Civil War, and of course there's that scene in the hallway where that famous actress that I can never remember her name is saying, "You killed my son, Tony Stark." I mean, I can't ever remember that.
I don't like that scene.
Is it Alfred Woodard?
Yeah, it's Alfred Woodard. It's Alfred Woodard. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
And that was such a weird scene because that character never came back. Like,
I don't like that scene.
You have Alfred Woodard in a movie.
I kind of like that scene.
I mean,
I think it works because it
works.
Well, it's part of the whole
it plays on that PTSD that Tony constantly has, and it just kind of strikes something where he's like, "Shit, I really did mess up."
But that goes also with how the people were, kind of against the whole superhero.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So.
But then when you look at Snyder's other films, they're all very against Superman.
Yeah.
So he's again, we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Why'd you say Martha? Why'd you say her name?
I mean, I don't know how history is going to look back on the DCEU.
Not favorably.
They won't remember it.
Yeah, like it'll in 20 years nobody's going to care about this thing. It's I mean, if the Gunverse happens in a way that is successful, and I don't know that it will, and everybody can say, "Oh, everybody loves James Gunn," blah blah blah. Yeah, they have a lot to overcome.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to
do. The cinema landscape is different now than it ever has been. So it's not a guarantee that this thing is going to work, no matter how excited you are about The Authority and Batman.
I'm not excited at all.
The good news is he's starting it with a Superman film.
Yeah,
that's wise. That's wise of him.
You either need to start with a Superman or a Batman.
Well, technically, Blue Beetle is the first DCU film.
He
said it.
Let me tell you, the first and the last time we'll ever see Blue Beetle is in that movie.
Mikey, my understanding of his quotes is, and this is like a lot of people debated this, but my understanding of his quotes is, that Blue Beetle is the first DCU character we see, but it does not take place in the DCU.
Oh, interesting.
It's not a DCU film.
But the actor that's playing that character could be Blue Beetle in a DCU film later.
Yeah. Okay. Listen,
is that Xochitl Jimenez or what?
None of this counts. They have to say anything right now to get people to go see Blue Beetle and Aquaman.
Yeah.
It's like
they're gonna
that post-credit scene in the Flash was so you'd go see Aquaman because you know what? Maybe
he's a drunk.
Maybe they keep him in the new version.
Every single post-credit scene for the Flash contained Aquaman. There also was an Affleck one where he was out of time, which was a setup they were going to do for Crisis eventually. But anyway, but also,
isn't Affleck in Aquaman still, or they cut all that?
Who knows? Probably cut at this point.
It's hard you can't get any.
If it's there,
like spoiler reports, like leaks from it, because everybody who sees a cut of the film kills themselves immediately. Nobody knows what it's like. It's Schrodinger's movie. Good and bad until somebody sees it.
Are we talking about Aquaman?
The other scenes where Aquaman is saying, "Oh, so Supergirl was a guy," was one of them. when Superman didn't show up back at the scene, and then the second one comments again on some change in the Justice League.
Then he says, "I can dig it."
Yeah.
My
now we have what we have.
My man.
man.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, Melissa's still listening to this crap? We're sorry.
It'll be a slow day at Melissa's house.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm kind of sad we didn't have our guest.
No, he did text and said he couldn't make it. So it was supposed to be Steve, and he couldn't make it.
Oh, we figured.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so many years have gone into the DCEU, and it's just fizzled out.
I say blow it up. Blow it.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with blowing it up at this point.
Well, hey, I do. Real quick though, the box office on this thing, 55 was it?
Well, the 3 day. Yeah, the 3 day.
Yeah, that ain't good.
No,
that ain't good.
It's hey, word of mouth is going to catch on. This thing is
No,
going to go. It's going to live.
It's got a B cinema score.
Now,
that ain't good word of mouth.
It is benefiting from one extra week in IMAX because Asteroid City is really the only new release that's coming out this coming weekend.
We could say 4 more. I mean, I don't know of another film that's coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Well, Indiana
getting good reception.
As far as the IMAX screen, though, that's taking the IMAX screen when it happens.
Indy next? Is that in 2 weeks?
That's in 2 weeks.
I've gotten so much more scared for that movie.
Yeah,
I'm looking at that. Look, it is.
They did reshoots, okay? Everybody keeps talking about the reshoots.
Oh, stop it. Oh, shut up, Brad. They did not film scenes with her picking up the hat and going back in time and replacing him in every movie that you see. No, that's just dumb. They didn't do that. Mangold wouldn't do that.
Dumb.
So we've gone.
What I'm worried about.
Now let's talk about the actual spoiler that happens at the end of the film. So no,
that's the thing.
Because it was terrible.
So we've gone from jumping the shark to nuking the fridge to microwaving the baby. Is that right? Is that where we are now?
We're at microwaving the baby now.
We moved on from nuking the fridge to.
I am looking forward to Andy Muschietti's Brave and the Bold. I think he can pull it off.
I do too. I think
he's a good director. It's all going to be
a good cast.
Who's writing it?
He writes them. I think he writes them also. He's a writer as well.
Christina Pearson wrote this film, or whatever her name is. She wrote Birds of Prey and another. She's not linked. She passed on the Brave and the Bold.
He wrote also though. Maybe
he probably does some writing, but she passed on Brave and the Bold. So
Melissa Gunn has to say
that.
Right. Yeah, this is not a good indicator of his judgment. Then
no,
right?
it's fine.
It's not the best. It's not. Like it's not.
Guys,
in none of those universes that we saw was this the best movie.
Right, he's the head of the company.
I know I know, but.
Are you talking about Machete or are you talking about Gunn?
No, James Gunn? He has to say that. He has to say.
But you don't.
He's like Mike McDaniel with Tua as his quarterback.
And
it sounds like James Cameron saying that you're gonna take a dump with your mouth open. It's going to be so spectacular, right? That's the same. It's got the same vibe.
Well, here's the thing: this film was tracking for the best of the summer.
It was. That's why I'm surprised.
110 to 140 at one point, opening weekend, and I think that was Gunn.
I think, or was that what it was tracking?
That's what it was early tracking on.
When they said it's going to be the best movie of the summer. Yeah.
And here's the thing: I think they saw the early tracking. They saw there were other there were other things that showed very positive signs for the box office for The Flash. I think he did enjoy the film, and he knew the multiverse stuff was going to play with people, and that's why he played it up and said, "This is going to be great. This is a great film."
He didn't say this is a great film. He said this is the greatest.
No, he said one of the best. One of the best movies. Well,
Zaslav said the greatest.
Zaslav's an idiot, but
what he meant was this is one of the superhero movies.
Yeah, they added the AI.
There are. This is one.
Yes.
This is a movie. And it's releasing in theaters. You should go see it so I can make more movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My wonder is more dire, guys. I don't think this younger generation, no offense to Garrison, maybe I'm talking about the generation under him, they don't have the patience to go to movies. I don't think they care about going to
They don't care.
movies.
I don't care.
I think it's too long of an event.
We have to wait another 10 years
do
when
like-
going to movies becomes nostalgic and a cool retro thing to do.
So
maybe
here's
so.
here's what like Gen Z likes to go see is horror films. They love to go see
that's right.
event horror films, and that's why last year you had so many that did so well financially.
I'll tell you, I saw a lot of people my age and younger that are in Gen Z that went to see Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and that's very stylized animation, very like
but also Spider-Man too,
and Spider-Man. I mean,
Spider-Man's huge.
A different vibe there. I mean,
and it's a good movie.
This was fun. This was a good movie.
The problem,
I legitimately, my first showing, I came out of that being like, man, that was fun, and I had a lot of fun. And then I got on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this is depressing. Oh,
everybody's bashing it. Why are they just bashing it? Yeah,
they want it to fail.
And then Rhett started in.
It is more fun to bash. I mean, as a guy who likes to bash things, I will say that it is a lot more fun than when they're good. The problem with my big problem with this movie is it was neither good enough nor bad enough for me to swing either way to either extreme, which makes it kind of boring.
Yeah, that's right. We're all gonna watch them on our Apple headsets, sitting at home.
Not me
ever.
Once
dude.
Elon Musk
$3,500.
Yeah, I ain't gonna spend $3,500 on it, but we're all gonna have one at some point. You can go ahead and count.
Take out a loan.
No way.
That's the way.
I will be going to see movies to the day I die.
No, it's gonna. In 10 years. In 10 years,
that chip will be in your head, and you can.
No, not for me. Not for me. I will be going to see movies till the day I die.
That chip in the head thing ain't happening.
I ain't doing that.
I'll wear
the goggles.
They tried that with monkeys. Like a bunch of the monkeys died.
FDA just approved it for human trials. Human trials, dude.
But they just approved it today. We can start testing on humans. That's going to go great.
But that's about like spinal cord
doesn't help
stimulators.
my opinion of the FDA. I'll just say that.
Yeah, well, I was already had a pretty low opinion of them. Somebody wrote somebody a check, and that's why this got approved the way it did. So,
I think that starts with federal. I don't have a
wait. I didn't know that was Elon's submarine.
Yeah, that's Elon's. Yeah.
Ooh, I did.
I didn't know that.
That's Elon's.
It wasn't Elon's
submarine.
No, it was.
I didn't think it was.
Oh, but his submarine she's talking about the rescuing the kids. His Starlink was connected to the submarine that got.
Oh.
But Starlink's not a bad thing.
No,
yeah. Now it's going to screw up.
The submarine got stuck because the controller was a Logitech Xbox controller.
Yeah.
It literally was.
Yeah, Starlink.
That's not good at all. That's not good for anybody. I am excited that we're going to be back to a TV show, in all honesty. And look, we're not going to be done with these roundtables this year. We're going to do some more comic book films that come out. We'll do indie.
I'll have my indie hat on.
But for the most part, starting I take that back. There is another break where we're going to be watching some dumb movies and doing roundtables on some dumb movies. I
can't believe we're covering dumb movies, and then we got like Mission Impossible, and we're like, nah.
Well, it's because there's a TV show going on while Mission Impossible. I know. I mean, but we're going to be doing we're going to be doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when it comes out.
I'm excited for that one.
I am too. We're going to be doing Gran Turismo.
Oh my lord!
No, we're not.
Why are you subjecting yourselves to that?
Because I don't.
What if we break before I have to watch that?
What if the digital release of Mission Impossible comes out the weekend?
Okay, maybe. Look, maybe we'll do something else. But
let Garrison talk about his favorite things or something. Anything but Gran Turismo.
That looks terrible.
It doesn't look terrible.
No, it looks awful. What are you talking about?
Like your subscription numbers will drop.
Neil Blomkamp.
They can't get any lower than they already are.
Will. I'm telling you, you'll be banned. Like, no, this.
I can't tell what's going to happen in the film and the trailers. It's not like it tells me every single thing that's going to
win.
Just like Craven. I felt like, did I see the whole movie?
Oh, hey, we're doing a roundtable on Craven when that comes out. That's not till later this year. That's not.
I will rip that film apart. I hope you understand.
What if you love it? What if you love it?
It's impossible to love it. That trailer was Marvel's bad.
The Sonyverse love that you have.
Hey,
Actually, I'm
good
starting to have
Marvel.
fun with the Marvels trailer in the theater.
Marvels,
I'm not even lying.
They did a screening on Marvels. They did like a pre-screening.
gonna be
People are
hot.
liking Marvels. I mean,
They did a
people
public screening
a
of the Marvels,
public- yeah.
which means the credit scene's leaked, by the way. So.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want to see.
Oh,
the
boy.
credit scenes. I'm shocked that the credit scenes leaked.
Yeah,
Ooh.
don't do. Why
don't they just go ahead and release it? Why wait till
I
November?
wouldn't do a credit scenes with public screenings. My opinion.
Yeah,
Right.
they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
They always hold that stuff. I don't know why they would do that. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Anyways, we will be back next week. Thanks so much for the chat. We had Melissa, Ted, we had Nate for half a second. He was probably butthurt that he didn't get to be on here. I'm sorry.
I think he said something like that, though.
Well, he gave the
What
film
now?
a 5 out of 10 on Letterboxd. So.
He said,
He did not like the movie. He did not like. Grab a
he said his
pillow.
tears have dried.
His tears have dried. Okay. Brian was here. Matt was here for half a second. Yeah. Okay.
I see what it is. His phone's probably still watching it. He said grab a pillow when Garrison went into the Flash.
Yes.
He just dozed off.
He's still here. Dude, Ted, Morbius is a great movie. How dare you?
No, it's not.
No,
it's
it's not.
bad.
All bad. There hasn't been a good Sony-verse movie.
The SSU, baby. I'm all in on the SSU.
Sinister Six.
You
universe.
guys are gonna
worst
love it
writers.
when Tom Holland shows up in all of these SSU movies.
Morbius is written by the Gods of Egypt writers. Why are we, and they're writing Madam Web too? What are we doing?
Oh no!
Yes. That means it's gonna be great.
Hey, but you'll get Black Cat
They still
cameo.
give Chris Terrio work too.
That's true.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we're gonna do a roundtable on Indy 5. But next week we will be back with a Marvel television show, which are gonna probably get fewer and farther between. I don't know what's gonna happen with Disney Plus. It seems
Well, we
like
got the
Writers-
Marvel shows for the rest
writers.
of the year.
I can't
which
wait
is
to
nice.
cover Echo.
we're going to.
I
We're
know
gonna
it.
cover it.
November.
Can't hear you.
What?
Oh,
What was
man.
that?
Yikes. Okay, so we'll be back next week, episode 1 of Secret Invasion, and again, appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. It makes it a lot more fun for us. Appreciate everybody here on the panel. Garrison, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at GRyfin3, GRYFUN3, Instagram as well. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfin. I don't know that I've logged anything. What have I seen lately? I don't know, man.
You logged
My
the
life's a
Flash.
blur.
Flash?
You
Huh?
logged the Flash?
Yeah, I watched The Flash. I watched Flashpoint Paradox. I watched The Flash again. I may have seen something else. I watched some Iron Fist. I'm really trying to get through the Defender shows, but Iron Fist has been a little bit
Defenders
of a
is actually a pretty good series. That little mini.
yeah, I got to finish Iron Fist season 1 at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying.
Defenders isn't bad.
I
Yeah,
liked it.
yeah. And I've joined
date
Serialized
Iron.
recently, but I think I like TV Time better. I don't know. We'll
I like TV Time. That's
Yeah.
what I use.
I don't even know what you kids are talking about.
Serialized is like a guy who loved Letterboxd, and so he made a TV version of Letterboxd, but it's not exactly where I want it to be.
Oh, it's a new app. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting. I might have to look into that. Roth, where can people find you and what's going on with Good Day for a Movie?
Roth from Wyoming, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. Good Day for a Movie podcast. We have our episode on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse out.
Mm-hmm.
Get into some dumb arguments at the beginning of the review.
It was fun, though.
But fun episode, fun movie. But our next movie, this actor was talked about
Oh.
in this review.
Oh.
Oh, no, we already did Face Off. What are we doing next? No, Face Off.
No,
Face
it's
Off.
Face Off.
It is Face Off.
Oh, Face
We've already
Off.
recorded
Oh,
that
my
episode.
goodness.
That's why I
You-
got confused. It
yeah,
is
yeah.
Face Off. Yes.
I'm
Face Off
ready
is up
for-
next.
I can't wait to hear what you say off.
It's so
That's gonna be
terrible.
awesome. No, what are you talking about? It's a great
Face Off
movie.
is
What?
It's
What is
a terrible movie.
You guys are such haters.
Look at it, terrible.
Michael, we all
I
like
mean, it's high camp. I mean, it's enjoyable.
High
But
praise.
It's like, well, that too.
High praise. Dr. Earl off the grid, but can be found in the Deucecast Discord every once in a while
In
that
the
we lovingly
pretentious
call
corner.
in the pretentious corner, hanging out over
Yes.
there. You put what did you put in there recently? Something weird.
Holy Spider.
Yeah, Holy Spider. I don't even know what that is.
Oh man, so good.
Rhett, any new websites that people can find you on or
Again,
No?
hey, I am going to hawk a product though, sort of.
Oh.
My wife has a podcast.
Oh yeah.
On the Dock.
Oh yeah.
She and a friend cover documentaries, and they are pretty funny. They are goofy Southern women, and they laugh at each other quite a bit. Very irreverent and pretty good. They are currently ranked 134 in TV and film podcasts.
Wow.
For reference, Rebel Force Radio is 132. So
I was about to say, I know the Deucecast is not on.
We've never made a list.
For movie podcast will never be.
So they're doing pretty well. They cover some of the more, some of the controversial documentaries, and they have some really goofy things to say about them, and they have some pretty good experiences related to some of the stuff about the Duggars documentary that came out recently.
Happy people.
They've gone through some of that stuff, and anyway, so I thought I would hawk that. It's on the Dock.
That's really nice. Thank you for.
It's pretty good.
Have they ever talked about Tickled?
Yeah, they did talk about Tickled, and I feel like they that was produced by a local guy, I think. Somehow or another, like they ended. I think they interviewed the.
Oh wow!
Associated with it, like yes, they did. That was one of the first ones they covered.
I love Tickled.
It was Tickled.
I
thought
they did the.
In fact, they were asked by, and I'm trying to remember. I think they were asked by the producer or director or something to do it. Like it was kind of a strange little thing.
Are you talking about Jasper Mall, or are you talking about? I know they interviewed.
They did. Yeah, I interviewed the Jasper Mall guy for their podcast. I don't know if that ever released, but they've done some of those. That was early, but yeah, they're.
Oh, you got Melissa. You got Melissa there.
They had a Patreon for a while.
Repeat the name of their podcast.
It's
on the Dock.
DOC.
On the Dock. They're a lot. I mean,
on the Dock.
Rhett's wife, better half all the way around.
Oh yeah. Way better human being.
Yeah, she's
way better. Yeah, like
yeah. And more filtered than I am too, but not to a fault. They still get some of the stuff. I hear some of the stuff that gets edited out of that thing that is just like holy smokes. It reminds me of some of the crap that we say.
After the show.
Correct. Right. They have sense enough to cut it out.
Well, we do too. All right, we'll be back next week. Secret Invasion. I'm worried it wasn't getting rave reviews, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Whatever.
The first episode was not getting. It apparently does get better, but the first episode.
I saw one of the reviews. It was like, "This isn't happy and superhero."
Oh well, yeah. Why would you want it to be? Yeah, that's
the
not
purpose. It's
the mainstream reviews I saw today were positive about it.
I'm ready for some more Emilia Clarke in my life.
Yeah, I think some of the negative stuff, like Slam, new series Slam. That's YouTube excess. I think
Olivia Colman's in this thing, people.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Maybe it'll be great.
It's got some great stars.
Maybe it'll be Andor good. We'll see.
Well,
let's not. Whoa, now.
I want it to still be Marvel.
I didn't think Marvel would go that low, but
oh boy. Oh,
on that note,
wise at least. All right, guys.
See y'all next week.